What was the pettiest thing an adult did to you when you were younger? I got in trouble in 6th grade for reading during homeroom. Homeroom was like a random 30 minutes period to work on homework, but I always did my homework the night before, so I would just quietly read. For some reason my homeroom teacher hated it. One day she just yelled at me for always reading in her class and told me to do my homework. I told her all of my homework was done. She told me to prove it, so I showed her all of my completed homework. Then she confiscated my book and sent me to the principal's office for being disrespectful. I'm still salty about it. I effing hate people who equate being proven wrong as disrespectful. What pisses me off the most about it is that it extends beyond the teacher's power trip, too. By teaching their students that proving someone wrong is disrespectful, they also teach them that all disagreement is bad and must be stamped out. Then updated facts, and also innocuous differences in opinion, are seen as rude and shameful. F that crap. What did the principal say? I was at an Easter egg hunt when I was around 6. It was in a big park area with lots of rocks. I saw a little chocolate egg foil glisten and ran over to pick it up. As I reached my hand out to pick it up, a man trod on my hand to stop me getting it, then he called his kid over to find it. I have a similar story. I was about 12 and at a Mardi Gras parade, and an adult stepped on my hand to prevent me from picking up some plastic beads on the ground. Edit. Yes, Mardi Gras, it was a typo. I was sitting in a car during a 12-hour journey from the South to the Mid-Atlantic when I wrote this. Jesus, this might be the worst one on here, assaulting a child over a candy. A math teacher handed back our tests in class. They were graded and marked and all that. She was going over some of the questions that most people got wrong, myself included, so I was writing down some notes on my test so I could reference it later and remind myself why I got things wrong and what I was supposed to do. She ripped my test away from me and started screaming at me that cheating is absolutely not allowed and that I should be ashamed of myself. Confused and in shock, I started choking up and tried to explain that I was just trying to take notes. One of the most humiliating times of my childhood, around 13 years old, and I still don't understand why it happened. The F is the point of going over the answers if learning the correct answer is considered cheating. In elementary school I used to talk to the lunch lady every day, and then the one day I didn't say hi. She came to my lunch table and told me I was fake, phony, and a few other things and stopped speaking to me. I still don't understand what her problem was. My great-grandfather's sister was my elementary school lunchroom lady. I got in trouble a few times for calling her Aunt Sarah instead of Mrs. _. Hadn't thought about that in years. Thank you for triggering that memory. Edit. It was my 2nd grade teacher who had issues, not Aunt Sarah. Sarah was a special lady. Edit number 2. Thank you for the shiny things. Oh, shiny. That brought back a memory. We had a school aide who always went by Grandma Jean. I'm not sure if it was because her granddaughter was in my class or not, but we all called her Grandma Jean. Anyways, we get a new principal when we're in 3rd or 4th grade. Principal gave us hell and tried to give us lunch detention for calling her Grandma Jean. Keep in mind, we've been calling this lady Grandma Jean since we were all in kindergarten. Grandma Jean came up to us and the principal and just flat out said something to the effect of, "They call me Grandma Jean. I am Grandma Jean." Grandma Jean is a badass, and last I knew still kicking in what must be her 80s or 90s. Still lives in her own home too. One of my uncles was in a years-long fight with my mom. To stir trouble, anytime he greeted my sister and I, he would tell my sister how beautiful and wonderful she is and to me just say, "Oh, you're here too," and then promptly ignore me the rest of the night. I used to adore him up to that point, so this ended up in me being extremely hurt and crying to my mom for hours about how I'm ugly and not special. He got his petty vengeance on my mother and crushed my self-esteem. Till today I don't forgive him for it. People who involve children in grown-up feuds are just buttholes. I'll be honest, that's got to be the pettiest thing I've read in this entire thread. I don't forgive him either. F that guy. Please tell me that every time you see him, you greet everyone else over the top enthusiastically, and then him with a "oh, you're here too" with a mildly annoyed tone and look on your face. My 6th grade teacher didn't like me. I had transferred into her class when the teacher was needed elsewhere, and this teacher was resentful. She was going to have the class read The Hobbit, long before any movies. I was excited. I had read it and the trilogy the year before. She called me a liar in front of the whole class, then went on a tirade about how kids like me were terrible and thought we were better. I was a quiet, shy girl, and cried. She mocked that too. The rest of the year was hell. She let her pets, officers' kids, it was a school near a Navy base, bully me. I was never good enough. She couldn't fail me because I excelled at bookwork, but she picked on me at every turn. Trash human. I'm so sorry. My 6th grade teacher was a bitch to me too. And this question about petty adults really hits home. I'm 3 submissions in so far. My aunt was unpleasant or weird with everyone but always particularly cold to me. One day when I was about 14 she took me aside and said she'd held a grudge against me because of my name. She had wanted to call her first daughter that name but my parents had had a child first and used it. They had no idea she wanted the name and aren't the kind of people who would have done it on purpose. She said she tried really hard and had just about forgiven me for it. I just remember being baffled by it and then feeling sorry for her for being that spiteful, to be honest, but it palled later in comparison with all the other crazy horrible things she did to her own family. Good thing she was only cold to you, but stayed away then. Growing up, my mom's sister absolutely hated me and got her dad to treat me poorly, too. I learned the reason for her behavior and why that side of the family treated me so horribly. My mom got pregnant with me and I was going to be born the same year as her sister's kid and she was mad that my mom and I were stealing their spotlight. Edit. I would just like to add I was my mom's 2nd kid, and the first kid was named after my mom's sister. Which is so dumb because having a similar aged cousin is awesome. Had a teacher in kindergarten threaten to expel me because I was sick and didn't show up the day before. She put me on the spot in front of the whole class telling me not to lie and that she'd call the principal. I cried in front of the whole class not knowing what to do. Apparently she wanted to win some attendance award and thought confronting a child was a good idea. Like brother, I was effing 5. Still salty on how she got away with it. Attendance awards seem kind of stupid. There's no way to predict when a student will suddenly have a personal or family issue that they need to skip school or just a class for. It seems incredibly stupid. Especially for elementary school. I could see this maybe being a thing in high school where kids like to skip class, but no kid in kindergarten has the ability to choose if they're going to class or not on any given day. I remember 1, maybe 2 people at graduation getting awards for having never missed a single day of school going back to kindergarten. I thought it was worthy of a mention I suppose, but like WTF is the point? Not a single effing day? Preschool me wasn't sure if shaking hands should come after or before getting awarded a prize on stage. Adults snatched my prize out of reach to hall full of guffawing adults. Preschool me burst out in tears and was led off stage. Parents scolded me for making her look bad. Edit. My form teacher passed the prize to parent later when we were seated. Prize giver was a local celebrity. How pathetic do you have to be to score off a 4-year-old? On behalf of toddler you, I wish I could tell all those people off. It was a trap. You didn't do anything wrong. You were in a room filled with buttholes. Did you receive the prize? Yay, my form teacher passed it to parent later when we were seated. Prize giver was a local celebrity. Good, I was afraid you wouldn't receive the prize for the crime of not shaking somebody's hand. My swimming teacher removed my inflatable armbands while swimming in a deep part of the pool because I was not paying enough attention out of excitement. That's not petty, that's effing dangerous. It was over something petty, I guess. He did not let me drown, of course. He wanted to scare me a bit. Which worked very well. I used to teach swim lessons. You're never supposed to scare someone into swimming. That can easily lead to fear of water than the person not learning to swim at all. Plus it's weird he had you in floaties. Floaties weren't allowed in lessons even in the deep end. They don't allow the body to be positioned in the right way and the kids end up relying on the floaties rather than themselves. My summation, your swim teacher sucked. I hope you got a good one after this guy. Well, I never returned to that same guy and went to another swimming pool for lessons. So everything went fine after I left. I was feeling sick one day in grade 3 or 4 and the substitute teacher wouldn't let me go to the nurse's office because I didn't look sick enough. I had strep throat. I once got yelled at by the nurse for bleeding through my band-aid too fast. Like I did it on purpose. Edit today I learned a lot of people who are school nurses should absolutely not be school nurses. Did you even try talking to your platelets? Maybe give them a halftime pep talk? This guy clots. Oh yeah, I had that one a lot. I'd always be running a fever but they stick a thermometer on my face, call it fine and off to class it'd go. Get home and it'd be 102. My mom started requesting that if I claimed a fever, to call her. She was a nurse so and she, knew I couldn't fake it well enough to get past her so she trusted to only call when I needed to. I claimed fever probably 5 or 6 times throughout school and I was always right. In Cub Scouts, we were doing the Pinewood Derby. I worked really hard on my car. My dad helped, of course. I had already won the first 3 rounds, and before the final round, one of the dads of the other kids picked up my car to hand it to me. It slipped out of his hand, and broke the wheels when it hit the floor. I'm convinced it was not an accident, and he was sabotaging my car so his kid would win. This was over 30 years ago, and I'm still salty about it. One of my packs had to make a rule that only the parent of the scout could touch their car because stuff like this was happening way too often. The Pinewood Derby and the other racing events were meant to build sportsmanship, yet some parents take it way overboard. There's a movie making fun of exactly this called Down and Derby. Yes, same with my son's Cub Scout pack. Only the parent of the scout and the one person checking to see if the cars were qualified, weight, etc., could touch the cars. If this was not followed, the offending party was immediately disqualified. When I expressed my shock at this to my husband because all the families currently involved with scouts are awesome, he said it was due to huge problems in the past that nearly escalated into fisticuffs that these rules were put in place. So, the problem was the parents, not the kids, as usual. Sigh. But how else are kids supposed to get their fisticuffs merit badges? What a crafty thing to do. But the thing is, all the other adults probably figured it out as well if you as a kid did. Probably nothing they could do in lack of clear evidence, but just imagine every person there thinking what a garbage person that was. I got to ask. Do you remember if his kid won? I don't. I ran out of the room crying, lol. Yeah, they definitely thought he was the scum of the world at that time. I was in middle school at a friend's sleepover. Her parents were very strict. She and her siblings got pulled out of public school to go to a Catholic school, were homeschooled in high school, and they scared the hell out of me. Anyway, it was probably like 11 p.m. at this sleepover, and her mom hesitantly let us watch the Disney movie Xenon, Girl of the 21st Century. I laughed at a part, and even though her parents were awake, they came into the living room to scold me for being too loud. Not long after, I took a drink of water, choked, and started coughing. They called my parents after 11 p.m. to come pick me up because I couldn't behave. They had no regard for them being asleep and having jobs to get to early in the morning. They wanted me out for laughing and coughing in the span of about 10 minutes. My parents never let me stay the night at her house again, and are still pissed at them for doing that almost 20 years later. Sounds like they just didn't want you there and were trying to come up with an excuse to send you home. If they were that hesitant to let them watch a really tame Disney movie, they probably saw her as an unknown, outside evil. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.